This video is sponsored by no one, so enjoy! Days Gone. Now, Days Gone is an interesting game from Ben Studios, exclusively for PlayStation 4. Should you get the game? Is it fun? When do you stop having fun? I'm going to answer all those questions right now. Immediately when you start off Days Gone, you're thrown right into a story. It's a little bit confusing. The voice acting is on par, but you're kind of taking the backseat as a viewer. You find out that this guy's wife has gone stabbed. She dies, I think. You play as the main character, Deacon St. John. He's part of a motorcycle gang where him and his brother go out to become drifters after his wife dies. This is when you get introduced to something called the Freakers and the Rippers. The Rippers are people, Freakers are zombies. You're going to fight a lot of those. A lot of those. And this is where the gameplay loop starts to become a little repetitive. As you drive your motorcycle on the road, you run into certain traps, be it Freakers, be it Rippers, be it other drifters that are trying to do other horrible things to you. The combat itself starts off exactly what you would expect. You're doing a lot of stealth stuff, walking around, hiding in bushes, and honestly, the AI is terrible. I'm just going to put that out there. There was a lot of times that I was just kind of sitting in bushes, throwing rocks, and the enemies would be like, "What's that over there?" and do the classic, "It was just nothing," while their friend is littered with bullet holes next to them. There would be times I would walk literally in front of an enemy with a gun, and he had no idea that I was there. And I'm talking about inches and walking back into a bush. The shooting itself also has a lot to be desired. The best way I can put it is like trying to play Resident Evil 4, but in 2019 for the first time. You kind of feel like there's weight to the guns that you're using, but the stick acceleration kind of feels clunky. You aim so fast in a different direction and slow in another. There is a perk that you get called Focus, which eventually will slow down time by a couple of seconds. It's not much. It's enough to get a couple headshots here and there. I found myself abusing that a lot and just kind of cheesing a whole bunch of my activities. A big part of this game is going to be traveling, and by traveling I mean you're on your motorcycle constantly. You'll be doing things like filling up gas, repairing it constantly, which, to be honest, does take a lot of the fun out of it. I understand it's trying to be a little bit realistic, but you're finding like gas tanks all over the place, plus you're constantly needing to get scrap, and after you've run over a couple of things, it just gets a little bit annoying. Yeah, there are some perks to help combat that stuff, and as you level up your motorcycle, that stuff seems to kind of take a backburn, but ultimately we're looking for fun here, and that does kind of take away from the fun factor, to be honest. I found myself customizing my bike once, so it didn't really feel like a big part of the game to me. I would do all these activities for camps, but it really just came down to I was doing chores. There was a bunch of times where you have to level up your camp progress to unlock the next thing. Like if I wanted to get a new engine because I wanted to be quieter, or if I wanted to make it further with using less gas, I had to do a ton of other tasks in this game. So it kind of felt like they put a roadblock of fun in between certain things. I'm not saying I didn't have fun while doing those. It's just that a lot of these missions start to overlap and kind of feel like the same thing. Case in point, there's this thing called Nero objectives. It's either you're clearing out a medical camp to get an upgrade, or you're following a helicopter and putting a GPS toggle thing on there so you can find them for some stupid mission. That mission you're going to play about 4 or 5 times. Now, the big thing about this game is the Freakers. From what we remember in the E3 trailers, there was thousands of them chasing you. And at first, it's horrifying. I remember having to sit in a bush as a whole horde of them walked by me and literally being scared. And for the first time, that was amazing to see. For the 5th time, I'm kind of still like, oh no, I better avoid them. But eventually I got the balls enough to kind of fight a horde on my own. Eventually though, you're going to get some cheesy deaths, and that's where the frustration of this game comes in. There was a lot of times I was just on my motorcycle and a horde would pop up in front of me. There was another time I went to go liberate a camp and I found like 4 dudes with a gun. I fired one shot and literally a horde spawned out of the cave and ran at me while I had nothing. You see, the whole fun of it is supposed to fight the Freakers that are always coming after you. But when they're kind of like in a big horde, you start to see the weaknesses of this game show. They don't give you a lot of ammo to do stuff, and their abilities are things like focus. As you can see here, a lot of it just kind of consists of running away from the Freaker horde as you sometimes turn around to throw pipe bombs, Molotovs, or go into slow-mo. that is most of the time as you're fighting a horde, and eventually takes away from the creative side. Fighting the hordes was supposed to be such a big part of this game, but ultimately it just kind of falls flat because of wonky controls, and it's the same thing over and over. Yeah, you can go into focus mode to kind of like mow a couple of them down, but it's really just a lazy version of Deadeye from Red Dead Redemption 2. Nothing really slows down too much, and you get it for a couple of seconds, and when there's 1,000 zombies running at you, you need all the time you can get. There's also melee combat in this game, and there's a couple of perks to help you as you do some of that stuff. That kind of rinses and repeats a lot with the same animations and same kill cams over and over. I also appreciate the fact that this game has photo mode, and I am a huge photo mode fan. When it comes to certain games like God of War, Shadow of War, a lot of things with war. So the new Sniper Elite, even to Rage 2 has photo mode, which is a huge selling point to me when it comes down to these PS4 games. But this one was a little lackluster. The camera kind of stays focused on your main dude, and when you have a perfect moment where you want to pause, where an animation looks sweet, they restrict photo mode, which kind of sucks. I want to see the pain and fear in people's eyes as I stab them in the forehead with a knife. Instead, they don't even let me take a photo. I have to do the crappy share play from PlayStation, and that's not what you want from photo mode. If you're going to put photo mode in a game, make it good. Don't half-ass it. People want to be able to take amazing screenshots whenever they want. Don't restrict it when something cool happens. I understand you're probably trying to save the game from crashing when they're trying to get into photo mode, but you need to figure that out if it's going to be a big selling point. So, is Days Gone fun? Yes, but when will you start not having fun? Honestly, for me, it was a couple hours in. I can play the game for maybe an hour, hour and a half, and then definitely have to take a break and play something else or do something else. I definitely feel like this game is a one-time play. You may be able to go in and dick around in photo mode, and if there's a new game plus, more power to you. But after you've killed your second or third horde, it just kind of feels something that's missing. They have you keep doing objectives for the camp. You will stop having fun at one point in this game. So to answer a simple question, Days Gone is kind of fun. Should you buy it? I would rent it if you can get it pre-owned or for cheap. Take advantage of that. You will eventually stop playing this game. It's a one-time playthrough. The story's kind of cool, but it is lacking in some parts. Voice acting kind of great, but I give it a solid Thanks for stopping by. There's definitely going to be a lot more game reviews coming up. This has been Days Gone for the PlayStation 4. Maybe get it. See you soon.